Hey guys, tonight we leave the noise of temples behind. We walk to Lethe, the river where the dead drink to forget they were ever alive. You kneel to sip from the current. The water looks clear, but as it touches your lips, a thought vanishes. Not a small thought, not a passing worry, but the name of someone you once loved. It slips away like smoke, leaving only the ache of absence. Drink again, and more pieces fall. Your home, your childhood, your very sense of you. The river does not drown you, it dissolves you, until only silence remains. If slow myths told in this way feel like the kind of company you'd welcome tonight, you're invited to like or subscribe, but only if it makes your evening softer. And if you'd like, share in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. It's strangely soothing to picture this quiet circle of listeners scattered across the world. Now, dim the lights. Let a fan hum low and steady, like the endless breath of a cavern river. Let your shoulders sink. Let your thoughts drift. The noise of the day belongs to the daylight. Here, only shadow speaks. And when a moment of gentle humor comes, it will arrive like a ripple on calm water. Small, soft, gone as quickly as it appeared. Just enough to keep the mind from drowning. You hear the faint hum of your own room. You shift beneath your blanket. Now strip it away. You hear water dripping on stone, slow and patient. You hear whispers sliding into the current, the last words of those who forgot themselves. You smell the damp moss clinging to unseen walls. You feel the chill creep along your arms, raising the small hairs on your skin. You open your eyes. The river lies before you, black and glimmering. You watch the mist coil upward, curling like pale fingers reaching for your face. And then you see it. On the far bank, a child waiting, eyes faintly glowing, watching you, as if your thoughts were already theirs. As if your memories had already begun to slip away. Myth 1. The river that forgets, child of Lethe. The child does not speak. You wait, listening for a greeting, a word, a cry, but there is only the hiss of water. You take a step closer, your foot sinking into the soft mud of the riverbank. The air tastes metallic, like iron coins soaked too long. When you breathe, you taste sorrow. The child tilts their head. Their hair is damp, slicked flat as though combed by the river itself. Their eyes do not blink, and you realize they are not glowing from within. They are glowing with something borrowed. The shimmer of other people's lives, pressed into a body too small to contain them. You feel a shiver crawl along your spine. It is not fear exactly, but recognition. The story comes to you in pieces, as though whispered by the water itself. This was not an ordinary child. They were born of Lethe, the river that makes the dead forget. On the night of their birth, a storm rolled across the caverns of Hades. Rain poured into Lethe's mouth, and in that flood, a mother left her infant swaddled in linen at the edge of the current. The river claimed the child, not to drown, but to mark. Its water seeped into their breath, into their first cry, and from then on, the child carried not one life, but many. You watch as the child lifts a hand, palm up, fingers small and trembling. At first, you think they are showing you nothing, but then the air around their hand thickens. A memory surfaces, not yours. You see a baker kneading dough, flour dusting his arms like snow. You hear the laughter of his daughter, the sound of a bell marking dawn. Then, snap, it vanishes, pulled back into the child's palm. Another image flickers. A soldier's scream as he falls, a spear cutting sky, the smell of burning pitch. Gone again. You step back. You feel dizzy, as though your own thoughts are not anchored, as though the current is tugging at your mind too. The child has no name. The whispers tell you this. Names are fragile things, and every time someone tried to give them one, the river washed it away. Call them once, call them face. You wonder, do they know which thoughts are their own? Do they know who they are at all? The whispers answer, no. They are mosaic, not self. A vessel, not a voice. You inhale slowly. The river smells of wet stone, of copper, of silence too old to name. Your chest tightens with a strange pity, for here is a child who remembers what was never theirs and forgets what should have been. Your eyes adjust to the gloom. Behind the child, the cavern walls glisten. In the rock, you see faint carvings, scratched by the desperate hands of shades who came before. Names, prayers, unfinished words, all eroded by mist, half letters that once begged to be remembered. The child rises. Their steps make no sound. They walk toward you until the river divides you both. Their lips part. A voice emerges, but it is not one voice. It is many, a chorus, layered and broken. Do you want to remember, or do you want to forget? The question sinks into you like stone into water, and in that moment you realize standing here is not passive. You are not just watching a myth. You are in it. The river is reaching for you. The child is waiting for your choice. You steady your breath. The cavern darkens. The drip of water grows louder. Your memories stir, fragile, fluttering, and you know that if you drink, you may never wake the same again. You don't answer the child. Not yet. But soon you realize the cavern's whispers are no longer of the dead. They are of the living above. Then the whispers shift. They are no longer voices of the dead. They are voices of the living, far away, yet bleeding into the stone. You hear a city above the ground. Not laughter, not music, but sobbing. You close your eyes and the sounds sharpen. Houses with hearths gone cold. Children clutching at their parents, begging for stories that cannot be told because the parents cannot remember them. Old men rocking on stoops, muttering names that dissolve like smoke before the last syllable is finished. The city is drowning, not in water, but in memory. For centuries, mortals prayed to forget their grief. They asked the river for mercy. But now the tide has turned. The river refuses to drink. Instead it spills, and memory once lost floods back into mortal minds. You see it in fragments. A woman wakes screaming, her mind filling with every birth she's ever had, every child she's ever buried. A soldier collapses in the marketplace, reliving each battle, each blade, each face he cut down. He claws at his head, as if his skull could not hold it all. The people do not die quickly. They break slowly, their lives stretched too wide for one body to contain. You watch through the river's mist, and you feel the weight of it settle on your own chest. This is not punishment from Zeus, not a curse from Hera, not even mischief from Hermes. It is neglect. The gods have turned their faces away, and so the city bends. Families lock themselves indoors, not for fear of thieves, but for fear of remembering too much. Priests preach from temple steps. Do not close your eyes. Do not dream. Forgetting is betrayal. But the words ring hollow. For what they fear is not forgetting. It is drowning in what cannot be forgotten. You feel the air shift. The child of Lethe steps closer to the current. Their voice again is a chorus. They cannot hold themselves. They cannot bear the weight. They will shatter, unless someone carries it for them. You understand. The city above is unraveling, and only the vessel standing here, the child, can absorb not to sip water. It is to swallow centuries. Faces you've never met, cries you've never caused, dreams that do not belong to you. They would flood you, reshape you, until you no longer knew where you ended and the world began. The cavern hums louder now, like a heartbeat under stone. The child looks at you, their expression layered with dozens of borrowed gazes. Pleading, furious, broken, tender. None of them are theirs, yet they are asking all the same. You hear the city again, 1,000 voices rising in desperation, like smoke from a burning roof. And in the middle of it all, a pause, as though every eye, every mouth, every trembling hand turns toward this cavern, toward you. The world is wrong. It cannot survive like this, and yet survival here is never simple. It is always a trade. You lower your eyes to the river. The mist curls toward you. Your reflection ripples, fragmented into many faces, none of them your own. And the whisper comes again, not from the child this time, but from the river itself. Remember for them, or forget yourself. Choose. You feel the stone cold under your palm. You feel your own memories quiver, as if preparing to scatter like birds. You take a breath, and know that the next act of this story will be written not in words, but in what you let slip away. And so you step forward. The mist parts as you descend deeper, stone narrowing into throat-like passageways. You take the step, 1 foot, then another. The river parts its mist to let you pass, as if it has been waiting for this moment longer than you have lived. The cavern opens, a throat of stone descending deeper, where even echoes refuse to follow. You walk slowly, your hand brushing the walls slick with condensation. The rock is colder than ice. It leaches heat from your fingertips until you no longer know if the numbness belongs to stone or skin. The child remains behind. They do not guide you. They only watch, eyes faintly flickering like lanterns left in a fog. You understand without words. This path must be walked alone. The air grows heavy, smelling of wet parchment and extinguished candles. It is the smell of forgotten libraries. You breathe it in, and with every breath a thought trembles loose. Was it your memory of a summer sky? Of bread still warm from an oven? Or someone's laughter you once promised never to forget? You try to hold it, but it slips, and you walk faster to keep yourself whole. The passage bends, and suddenly the space widens. A chamber lies before you, lit not by fire, but by jars. Hundreds of glass jars, stacked from floor to ceiling, each glowing faintly, each swirling with colors too alive to be liquid. You stare, and you recognize them. They are memories, contained, bottled, trembling to be let out. At the center of the chamber sits an old woman. Her spine curves like a bow, her fingers long and blackened with ink. Before her rests a table lined with chalices, each filled not with wine, but with light. She does not look up. She dips a ladle into a jar, pours its shimmering contents into a cup, and sets it gently before an empty stool. Then she waits, as if expecting a guest. You step closer. The floor groans beneath your weight. The old woman lifts her head. Her eyes are milky, but they see you all the same. Again, a soldier bleeding in snow. He whispers the name of his lover, not you, never you. Yet the syllables burn your tongue as though you spoke them first. You wipe your mouth, but the taste lingers. Your heart stutters with the weight of another man's dying. The woman sets down a third cup, green, thick, heavy. You You hesitate, but she pushes it forward, her eyes glinting. You drink. A girl's laughter, bright as bells. The first step of a child. The warmth of bread pulled from an oven. For a moment it feels light. You almost smile. But then the moment shifts and you see the same child, still and cold, in a cradle. The memory twists in your gut and you gag, nearly dropping the cup. The jars hum louder. They want release. They want you. The old woman leans closer. Her breath smells of earth and mildew. There is no stopping, she whispers. Once you begin, you carry. The city cannot survive unless you drink enough. But the more you drink, the less you remain. You look at your hands. They are not steady. Your fingers twitch as if another's nerves pulse through them. You feel someone else's scar burning along your palm. You feel hunger that is not yours, love that is not yours, hatred sharp enough to blind. The woman sets down another chalice. This one is clear, colorless, yet it glows brighter than the rest. This is the deepest, she says. Inside is not the memory of one person, but the river's own. Drink this, and you will hold the silence of thousands, but you will give something in return. You lean forward. Your reflection trembles in the liquid. It is your face, but blurred, as if erasure has already begun. What do I give? You whisper. The woman smiles, and her teeth are black. Your first memory. The one that made you you. The cradle you remember. The first hand you held. The first warmth that told you the world was home. Once gone, it will never return. Not in dream, not in whisper, not in echo. Your chest tightens. You feel the enormity of it, the cost, the trade. The jars around you, your hand trembles as you lift the chalice. The bargain waits inside its glow. You sit frozen before the chalice. The glow trembles against your face, shadows carving deep lines under your eyes. The old woman waits, her breath rattling like leaves caught in a cave. The jars hum in chorus, a restless swarm of voices pressing for release. Your fingers lift, hesitant, trembling. The cup is warmer than flesh, as though it has its own heartbeat. It pulses against your palm, a silent rhythm demanding surrender. You bring it to your lips. The scent rises first. Not wine, not water, but the faint sweetness of milk, the salt of skin, the warmth of a cradle blanket. It is your memory, suspended in liquid, ready to vanish. You hesitate, and in that hesitation, you hear the city above. 1,000 voices howling, drowning in the flood of too many yesterdays. A woman sobbing every death she ever saw. A man shouting each oath he ever broke. Children crying the cries of all children lost before them. The weight presses you down. If you do nothing, they will break, and if they break, their fragments will fall back into the river, and the child of Lethe will be crushed. You raise the cup. The liquid touches your tongue. It is warm, too warm, and then a pull. The flame of your first memory flickers once, then bends, then breaks. You feel it leaving you, unthreading itself from bone and blood. The gentle face of your mother, the lull of her hum, the blanket that told you the world was safe. They slide away, not stolen, not buried, but dissolved. You gasp, your chest hollows. Your body remembers the shape of comfort, but not the source. A cradle without a name, an embrace without a face. The old woman nods. Done, she whispers. The chalice empties itself into you, and suddenly the chamber erupts. Light pours from the jars. One by one, their lids rattle loose. Threads of memory spiral upward, curling into your chest. You choke, your throat burning as lives crash into you, stitched into your veins. It steadies you, not enough to restore, but enough to keep you upright. You rise slowly. The old woman is gone, the stool, the table, the jars, all gone. Only the cavern remains, the drip of water echoing like a heartbeat. You walk back toward the mouth of the tunnel. Each step is heavy, weighted with centuries. The stone seems to lean inward, as if listening to the stories you now carry. The child is waiting by the river. They look at you, and for the first time, their face is empty. No borrowed grief, no layered gazes, only stillness, because you have taken it all. Their small lips part. "You chose," they whisper. Their voice is thin but clear, their own. You feel your knees weaken. The choice is done. The city above will live, but inside you, the first fire of your life has gone out. You are a vessel now, a hollow carved to hold what others could not bear. The river flows quietly beside you. Mist curls like soft fingers around your hands. You reach out, and the water does not resist. It bends toward you, as though recognizing its new keeper. And in that moment you know, you have not defeated the river. You have become part of it. When at last you return to the surface, the city breathes easier. Though your own beginning has vanished into silence, you return to the surface. The cavern narrows behind you, the mist withdrawing like a curtain after a play. The child does not follow. They remain by the bank of Lethe, small, still, finally unburdened. Above ground, the city stirs. The sobbing has thinned. Doors creak open. Lanterns glow again in the windows of narrow streets. Men breathe without clutching their heads. Women hold their children without trembling. For the first time in many nights, the air does not throb with the weight of memory. They do not know why. They do not know you. But relief passes through them like a breeze. Markets open. Water boils in kitchens. Laughter returns, cautious but real. You watch from the shadows of a colonnade. Their lives resume. And yet, as you stand, you feel the difference. You are not the same body that entered the cavern. You are crowded now. A host of voices hum under your skin. At times they weep. At times they sing. At times they rage so fiercely, you grip the stone wall just to steady yourself. No one sees this. No one thanks you. The city forgets the danger just as quickly as it once drowned in memory. That is the way of mortals, to live forward, to leave behind what burns. But you cannot forget. Your first memory is gone, and in its place sits silence. You know you once had a beginning, but you cannot touch it. You walk as a stranger in your own skin, a figure who remembers too much of others and not enough of yourself. In taverns, stories emerge. They whisper of an unnamed traveller who walked into the caverns of Lethe. Some call you mad, others call you a priest. No one calls you by name. They do not have one to give. Poets recite half-lines in gardens. They speak of the one who carried our sorrows. They dress the tale with metaphor, with song, with rhythm. But always it is vague. Always it blurs. The truth of you dissolves, the way chalk dissolves in rain. Years where no stone was thrown. And so, in time, your outline fades into the greater myth, the myth of Lethe itself. The river remembers nothing. The people remember only themselves, and you remain in between. A vessel no one sees. A sacrifice no one names. Myth 2. The Weaver of Night, daughter of Nyx. You hear the creak of wood, a steady rhythm like breath caught in timber. Back and forth, threads sliding, needles whispering. It is not a sound from your room. It comes from deeper, from a place where fabric is not cloth, but the fragile husks of dreams. You step closer, and there, a girl no older than 13, her hands small, but moving with certainty, feeding strands of silver and smoke through a loom carved from black stone. Each thread shimmers faintly. When you lean closer, you see that it is not thread at all. It is a dream. One glows like the gold of ripe fields, a farmer asleep, dreaming of harvests safe from storm. Another shimmers blue, a sailor dreaming of his wife's hand, waiting on the shore. A third flickers red, a soldier dreaming of battle long past, his fallen brothers standing beside him once more. The girl works without pause. Her eyes are heavy, ringed with night, yet she does not falter. The loom hums under her touch, as if it knows she was born for this. They say she is Nyx's daughter, child of night herself. Not one of the honored Olympians, not sung in hymns, not offered wine at festivals. She is the shadow at the edge of flame, the breath that lingers when candles die. She should not exist. Atropos, the fate who cuts, once raised her shears in warning. But the thread of this girl slipped through, and so she remained, growing in the hidden places, nurtured by silence, raised among whispers. She learned the loom young. Her cradle was the spool, her lullaby the sigh of threads crossing. By 7 she could weave a child's dream of birds so perfectly that sparrows circled the window at dawn. By 10, she wove tapestries so large that entire villages walked beneath them in sleep, sharing one vision of green hills and summer skies. But as she grew, so did her unease. The dreams she gathered each night began to dull. At first only a little, colors fading, edges softening, as though washed too often in rain. A king who once dreamed of glory, mortals was forgetting how to dream. One evening, she paused at her loom. Her fingers trembled as she held a thread once bright with a child's laughter. Now it was thin as spider silk, nearly invisible. She pressed it to her cheek, but it gave no warmth. She whispered, "Why do you fade?" And for the first time, the thread did not answer, not even with silence. It was gone, even as she held it. That night, the girl looked into her tapestry. It should have blazed with stars of dreamlight. Instead, it sagged, patchy and dim, as if someone had spilled ink across the constellations. Something was wrong. Not with the loom, not with her hands, but with the world itself. And the girl knew, though no one had taught her, if the dreams continued to die, the night sky itself would unravel. Because stars were nothing more than dreams, kept alive long enough to burn. Her hands clenched the shuttle. She felt its weight. The hum of the loom faltered, waiting for her decision. Would she keep weaving what little remained? Or would she leave the safety of her chamber, step beyond the silence of Nyx's shadow, and seek the reason dreams were fading? The choice was not written for her, not yet. But deep inside she already knew. The loom could not be her prison forever. If dreams were to survive, she would have to carry them into a world that no longer believed. And so, her story began. But soon, she noticed something. The threads themselves were fading, the colors paling, as if the world had forgotten how to dream. You rise from the loom. The threads cling to your fingers, unwilling to let go. They hum faintly, like bees trapped in glass. But when you shake your hands, the sound falls silent. Even the loom seems relieved. You step outside. The air above the earth should be thick with dreamlight, a shimmer rising from every sleeper's chest, drifting upward where your hands could gather it. But tonight, the sky is patchy. Some windows glow faintly, others remain dark, and the stars themselves flicker as though hunger gnaws at their edges. You walk through the village. Doors are bolted. Chimneys breathe weak smoke. Inside, people turn restlessly, their minds locked in dreams of accounts, of fears, of repetition. You reach for their dream threads. They are coarse, uncolored, like rope fraying under weight. The first you touch belongs to a baker. His dream once filled with rivers of honey, cakes tall as mountains, laughter of children crowding his shop. Now it is only flour dust choking him, numbers of loaves demanded, coins never enough. You let go quickly, but the taste of ash lingers on your tongue. You move on. At the smith's home, a young apprentice sleeps. You expect sparks, molten light, visions of blades singing in fire. Instead, he dreams of debt, of the master's scorn, of hands blistered raw with no reward. Even the child is emptying. You wander further. In one house, a widow stares in sleep at the shape of her husband's absence. In another, a boy turns and mutters of tomorrow's drills, wooden spears striking until bruises bloom. In another still, a mother cradles nothing. Her arms close around air. Her dream is so thin that you cannot even see the child she lost. You step back, heart pounding. It is not one home. It is everywhere. The dreams are hollow, not wild, not defiant, not luminous. They are grey, reduced to shadows of worry. You lift your gaze to the hills. Once, they pulsed with dreamlight like lantern names once carved deep. Once, people prayed here for good dreams. They left honey and milk at the altar. They asked for visions, for guidance, for mysteries. Now the altar is dust. Mortals do not come. They no longer believe dreams have power, and gods, abandoned too long, have withdrawn their hands. You kneel among the weeds. Your fingers brush the stone. It feels cold, but under it hums a faint echo, not of prayer, but of hunger. You realize something. When mortals stop dreaming, it is not just they who weaken. The gods who fed on those dreams fade as well. Immortality is nothing without memory, and memory is nothing without dream. The balance is breaking. A wind rises suddenly. It carries whispers not your own. A child laughing, a lover's vow, a soldier's cry. They swirl around you like ghosts, memories that should have found form in sleep, but instead scatter into night. You reach out. They slip through your fingers, cold, brittle, already lost. You stand, trembling. Your hands, once steady on the loom, now shake as if carrying the weight of absence itself. For the first time, you understand the truth. It is not that mortals have forgotten how to dream. It is that the world itself has turned against dreaming. Commerce replaces wonder. Obedience replaces imagination. Fear replaces longing. And every choice above rips another star from the sky. You whisper again. The world is wrong. This time, the night does not groan. It weeps. A thin drizzle falls, soaking your hair, tasting of iron and smoke. Not rain, the tears of a sky that no longer knows what it carries. You turn back toward your loom, but you know the chamber will not be enough. If the world itself rejects dreaming, no weaving can save it. You will have to leave the loom behind. You will have to carry your thread into the wound itself. The choice is no longer distant. It has already been made. So she left the loom behind, and her steps carried her to the caves where even the gods once dreamed themselves into being. You walk, not back to the loom, not to the village, but to the edge of the hills where shadows lean longer than they should. The grass crunches under your feet, though the night is wet with mist. The soil is brittle, like ash that forgot its fire. You follow no path, only instinct, only the pull of a thread you cannot see, but feel coiling through your ribs. It draws you to a cave. The mouth yawns wide, black and silent. No torch burns within. The air that seeps out smells faintly of honey left too long in a jar, sweet but spoiled. You hesitate. The cave is older than temples, older than hymns. It is said to be the first chamber where gods dreamed themselves into shape, long before mortals learned to sleep. Now abandoned, its stones sag like tired bones. You step inside. The walls close quickly, narrow, damp. Water drips steadily somewhere deeper, each drop echoing like the tick of a clock. Your shoulders brush stone slick with lichen. The cold seeps in, patient, invasive, until your skin prickles with the memory of other nights. You descend. The floor tilts downward, spiraling slowly. At times the air grows warmer, a faint breath of heat like coals buried under ash. At times it chills so sharply you feel your teeth ache. The rhythm of the cave confuses your sense of time, a heartbeat in reverse, slowing, stretching. You press on. At last, the tunnel widens into a cavern. Here, the walls are veined with pale light, not fire, not moon, but dreamlight, leaking through cracks in the stone. It shifts and curls like smoke underwater, colorless yet shimmering, a pulse without source. And there, in the center of the cavern, a figure waits. She sits upon a broken throne, carved from stalagmites grown together over centuries. Her hair hangs heavy, tangled with cobwebs. Her skin is the shade of parchment left too long in sun. Her eyes, though milky, reflect every glimmer in the chain. Not dream because they do not remember how, and without memory, dreams collapse into dust. Her hand lifts the thread. It brushes your skin. The chill is immediate, a rush that steals your breath. Suddenly your mind floods with visions not yours. A child's first word, the fall of a city's gates, the scent of bread rising from an ancient hearth, the cry of a widow, the laughter of warriors in spring, all at once, all demanding to be held. You stagger. The weight is unbearable. She steadies you with one skeletal hand. You cannot carry it all, she says, but you can choose. You look at her, trembling. What must I choose? Her milky eyes gleam. To descend deeper, to drink what the river hoards, to surrender your own beginning so others may remember theirs. You understand, then, this is not guidance, it is bargain. Your throat tightens. If you give away your first memory, the one that makes you yours, what remains? But above, the dreams fade faster each night. The loom shivers, thread by thread unraveling. The stars dim. You close your eyes. For a moment, you feel again the comfort of your mother's song, the warmth of her breath against your cheek, the memory Mnemosyne demands. It trembles, fragile, ready to be severed. You open your eyes. The goddess waits, patient as stone. The cavern hums with silence. The thread in her hand flickers, and you know, if you refuse, dream itself will end. You nod. Not once, but twice, the way mortals do when they are afraid, yet resolved. Mnemosyne's mouth curls, neither smile nor sneer, only recognition. Then descend, she whispers. The river remembers. And it is thirsty. The cavern darkens, the light in the walls withdraws, sliding back into unseen veins. The throne behind her crumbles into dust. She dissolves with it, a shadow folding into the stone. You are alone again, but at your feet, a stair of wet rock glimmers faintly downward. The sound of water rises, not gentle but endless, like an ocean sealed inside the earth. Your heart beats once, twice, and you take the step. 1 foot, then another. The descent begins. Her hands shook as she reached for the spindle Mnemosyne offered, knowing the bargain would cost her first memory. The stair is slick. Water weeps down its edges, trickling in rivulets that smell faintly of iron. Every step pulls you deeper, until the sound of the river swells into a roar. Not the gentle hush of streams, not the lapping of lakes. This is a voice, ancient and endless, carved into the marrow of the world. You step off stone. Before you spreads a cavern vast enough to hold the sky, and across its floor coils the river, black as ink, yet shimmering with veins of light, as though stars had drowned and never risen again. Mist clings above it, thick and cold. It curls into shapes, faces, hands, whispers, then collapses back into fog. You know its name without saying it. Lethe, the river of forgetfulness. Every dreamer's unclaimed memory, every grief too sharp to bear, every secret pressed into silence, all float here, forever dissolving. The current pulls like hunger. You feel it even from the bank. A tug not on your body, but on your mind. Thoughts blur, names falter. You blink, and for a moment you cannot recall why you came. Then you hear her, a voice rising from the mist, layered, endless, a chorus of all those who forgot. You bring what we need. The water stirs. From the center rises a figure. Not woman, not goddess, but something in between. Her body is woven of mist and current. Her hair drips with starlight drowned. Her eyes are pits of still water, reflecting not you, but memories you almost lost. She extends her hand. Between her fingers spins a cup, carved of obsidian, rimmed with silver. It glows faintly, as though lit from within by the dreams of thousands. You will drink, she says. Her voice is neither invitation nor threat. It is inevitability. You step forward. Your feet sink into the damp bank, mud clinging like fingers, ache with them. Your lungs heave as though breathing for hundreds. You clutch your head. Voices whisper, cry, sing, scream. It is unbearable. And yet, something slips away in the torrent. Soft at first, then sharper. You try to hold it. A face, a lullaby, the warmth of hands rocking you in infancy. The memory that belonged to you alone, but the river claws it from you. It tears through your mind, leaving a hollow where your beginning once glowed. You stumble forward, choking, grasping at the air, but it is gone, forever gone. The river sighs, the cavern itself seems to exhale. Above you the mist brightens faintly, as though stars drowned have begun to pulse again. The figure of Lethe leans close, her voice drips into your ear. You are less, but you are more. You are not one dream, you are all of them. You look at your hands. They flicker, not solid. Faint threads of light seep from your skin, curling upward like smoke. Your body hums, filled with voices that will never be yours, yet will never be lost again. You fall to your knees. The cup clatters on the stone, empty. But you are not empty. You are overflowing. Your chest burns with grief that is not yours. Your eyes sting with joy you never lived. You hear lullabies in languages you never spoke. You feel wounds on skin you never wore. The transformation is not gentle. It rips you open, fills the gaps with rivers, stitches the void with stars. You scream once, but no sound escapes. Only mist, only memory. The figure of Lethe fades back into the current. Satisfied, the river settles, the cavern stills, and you kneel at its edge, no longer the same. The first thread of your own life is gone, but in its place, thousands of threads weave through you, binding, tugging, glowing. You are no longer only the weaver. You are the loom, the cloth, the dream itself. Above, the world shifts faintly. Somewhere, a sleeper stirs with a dream vivid and strange. Somewhere, a child laughs in their sleep for the first time in years. Somewhere, a widow feels her husband's fate, and when she vanished from her chamber, only the tapestry remained, vast, glowing, alive with the dreams she had given back to the world. You rise slowly. Your knees ache from the stone, but the ache does not feel like yours alone. It carries the echoes of countless others, soldiers, mothers, children, knees that bent before shrines, knees that knelt in grief. You touch your chest. It pulses, but the beat feels divided. Not a single heart, a chorus, 1,000 rhythms layered within one fragile body. The cavern listens. The mist sways as if approving. You take a step toward the stairs. At first you stumble. Your balance betrays you. For a moment, you forget which leg should move first. The memory of walking itself nearly vanishes. But then another memory rises. Not your own. A child in a distant age, taking their first steps between the hands of laughing parents. That memory steadies you. You walk again. The climb is long. The air grows drier. The mist thins. The roar of the river fades into a murmur. Yet the voices within you remain. They murmur when you pause. They sigh when you breathe. They weep quietly when you sleep against the wall. By the time you emerge into night, your skin feels thinner, your hair damp with memory rather than sweat. Above, the sky has changed. Where once the constellations faltered, new stars flicker awake, faint, trembling, but alive. You realize they are not new. They are old dreams, rekindled. Somewhere, mortals are dreaming again. Not of debts or drills, but of oceans made of glass, of mountains that sing, of reunions with those lost. Your bargain has taken root. You walk back to the village. Windows glow faintly with dreamlight. Inside, you see a baker smiling in sleep, hands dusted with flour, but dreaming of honey rivers once more. The apprentice at the forge twitches, and sparks leap behind his eyelids. He dreams of shaping a blade so bright it blinds kings. The widow's breath slows. Her lips curl faintly, as though she hears her husband's laugh. You lean against the door, spilling onto the floor, each thread shimmering faintly with lives not yours. You try to read it, but the more you stare, the more your own memories slip away. You forget the smell of your mother's hair. You forget the shape of your childhood room. You forget the sound of your own laughter. But the cloth remembers. It hums with every loss. It cradles what you cannot hold. Nights pass. Seasons pass. You move less, speak less, until the villagers barely notice when you vanish from sight. Some say you dissolved into the tapestry itself. Others say you walked back into the cave, returning to Lethe to finish what you began. Some whisper that you became a star, one of the faint, new lights above their roofs. The truth does not matter. What matters is this: dreams returned. Children laughed in sleep again. Lovers found each other in visions. Poets woke with verses on their tongues. And for generations, mortals spoke of a nameless weaver who gave her beginning so that their endings might hold light. You, the one who once wove alone, are now woven everywhere. And though you cannot feel it, the world whispers thanks each night, when eyes close and silence blooms and dream begins. The legacy is not your name, it is the glow in their sleep. It is the thread they will never see, but will always rest upon. And when the stars tremble once more, when the cloth begins to fray again, perhaps another will hear the river call. Perhaps another will descend. Perhaps another will drink. For now, the world dreams, and you fade, gently, not into silence, but into them.
Myth 3. The Feast of Echoes. You hear chains first, not iron on wrists, but chains that drag across the sky, clanging louder than thunder. Below them stands a boy, hair wild, eyes fevered, hands stained not with earth, but with stolen fire. The gods lean close, their gaze sharp as spears, and above them all, Zeus waits, with silence heavy as storm. The boy does not kneel. He grips the ember tighter. It glows against the dark, a light not meant to be held, yet held all the same. You open your eyes to smoke, not the thin curl from hearths, not the gentle haze of incense, but thick, biting smoke that claws at your lungs. It rises from the valley below, where men stumble in darkness, hands raw from striking stone upon stone. They fail, sparks leap, then die. They shiver, their bodies crouched close, breath pale in the night air. Winter presses its teeth into their bones. Without fire, they are beasts. Without fire, they will not last. And from the mountainside, someone watches. Prometheus. His name itself means foresight, though foresight is more curse than gift. He sees what the other gods will not admit, that men are weak, yet full of longing. They hunger not only for bread, but for warmth, for art, for speech, for the spark that makes existence more than survival. He remembers the beginning, when Zeus decreed mankind should crawl, not climb. When mortals were fashioned from clay, brittle, frail, and left with nothing but bare hands, Zeus sneered, "Let them bow, let them worship. What need have they for flame? Fire belongs to Olympus." But Prometheus saw otherwise. He saw the way mortals gazed at the stars, eyes lit with questions. He saw how they carved crude shapes into stone, seeking to leave marks beyond themselves. He saw children press their hands together as though praying, though no words yet existed to pray with. He could not look away. Night after night, he lingered on the mountain's edge, watching them fumble in darkness. Fingers split, lips cracked, dreams snuffed before they had form. "Too soon," said the. Each stroke of his knife echoed. The stars themselves seemed to tremble, as if aware of the theft yet to come. You see him crouch on the ridge, reed clutched tight, eyes fixed on the horizon. The chariot nears, wheels screech against sky. Flames trail behind, painting clouds gold. Prometheus waits until the chariot passes, waits until the last spark drifts down, falling like a stray ember. Then he moves. He snatches it, pressing the ember into the reed's hollow. The stalk glows faintly, its tip smouldering, alive.
For the first time, fire is hidden. Not blazing in temples, not roaring in storms, but small, contained, smuggled. Prometheus hurries down the mountain. The ember shakes within, struggling to be free. It wants to leap, to devour, to return to the heavens. But he holds it firm, murmuring as though to a child. Wait. Not yet. The world below needs you first. He reaches the valley. The mortals still crouch, teeth chattering, hands cupped against cold. They do not see him at first. Only when he kneels among them, drawing the reed from his cloak, do they gasp. The flame flares. Orange, red, alive. It bends shadows against the rock. It kisses the air with warmth. It crackles, hungry yet generous. The mortals stagger closer. They stretch their fingers toward it, flinching at first, then laughing. A sound rough, strange, but filled with awe. They feed it twigs. They feed it leaves. They watch it grow. For the first time, night is not absolute. Darkness has an enemy. Prometheus smiles faintly. He sees in their faces what Zeus refused to see. Gratitude, wonder, possibility. He whispers, "This is your birthright. Not gift, not theft, but promise." The fire leaps higher. The mortals dance around it, shadows twining on the walls of the valley. Already they imagine. Stories written in flame. The smoke does not stay hidden. At first it curls softly into the night, rising like the breath of sleeping earth, but soon it climbs higher, threads of orange staining the sky. From Olympus, the gods look down. Zeus is the first to notice. His eyes, pale and sharp as lightning, narrow at the glow. It should not be there. No mortal flame should burn, no mortal shadow should dance against stone. He leans forward on his throne, the gold creaking under his weight. What hand dares this? The others murmur. Apollo tilts his head, confused to see light on earth not born of his chariot. Athena's lips press thin. She knows foresight has acted. Hermes chuckles softly, already guessing whose defiance has sparked. Only Hephaestus shifts uncomfortably. He knows the forge of gods and the danger of letting mortals touch even a sliver of that fire. Zeus does not ask again. He knows. He always knows. Prometheus. The name cracks like thunder across Olympus. Below, the Titan does not hide. He stands at the valley's edge, watching mortals huddle around their new light. The fire crackles, sending sparks into the black sky. Each spark a confession. Each spark a challenge. Zeus rises. Clouds gather with him. The throne hall groans as storms coil in its rafters. Eagle feathers drift from the ceiling, though no bird yet flies. "You have stolen," Zeus bellows, his voice tumbling down the mountains like an avalanche. "You have defied Olympus itself. Fire is not theirs. It is ours. And you," his words shake the ground. Mortals collapse in terror, clutching one another, pressing their faces into dirt. But Prometheus does not kneel. He meets the storm with steady gaze. "I have not stolen," he calls back. "I have returned what should never have been withheld." Lightning cleaves the sky. The gods erupt in outrage. Hera gasps at his insolence. Ares grins at the promise of punishment. Poseidon slams his trident against marble, waves rising in seas far below. But Prometheus does not falter. He speaks louder, voice woven with foresight. Mortals will no longer crawl in shadows. They will cook their food. Undone. Once fire is loosed, it cannot be chained. So he chooses another punishment. Then you shall suffer,
If mortals burn with your gift, you will burn with their price. He summons his guards, giants of bronze, forged by Hephaestus, silent and merciless. They seize Prometheus, chains rattling, heavy as mountains. The Titan does not resist. He only looks once more at the mortals, faces lit with awe, skin warmed by fire, and he smiles. The chains bite his wrists. They drag him upward, up the slopes, past forests and cliffs, past caves where echoes wail. The sky darkens further with every step. At last they reach the Caucasus, a peak so high it pierces clouds. Wind screams against its ridges. No bird nests here. No mortal climbs here. The giants bind him. Iron clasps sink into flesh. They stretch his arms wide, fix his body against rock cold as ice. The chains are forged with curses, unbreakable, unyielding. Prometheus does not cry out. His jaw tightens, his eyes narrow against the gale, but no sound escapes him. Zeus descends in thunder. He stands before the bound Titan. You wish to see their future. Now you will watch it all. Every war, every birth, every ruin, every triumph. And with each day, you will bleed for it. He lifts his hand again. This time no lightning. Instead, a shadow falls across the peak. An eagle, vast, golden-eyed, its wings beating storms into the air. It lands upon Prometheus. Its talons dig into his chest, and its beak descends. Prometheus clenches his teeth. The eagle tears into him, ripping flesh, devouring liver. Blood steams against snow. The gods watch, silent, satisfied. When the eagle withdraws, the wound closes slowly. The flesh regrows. The pain renews. And Prometheus understands. This will not end. Each dawn the eagle will return. Each dusk he will heal. And each night the fire below will burn brighter. It is his bargain, his punishment, his defiance sealed in eternity. You hear his whisper, days fractured into centuries. Still the eagle came, tearing his flesh, while below mortals sang around fire he had given them. The chain does not loosen. It bites deeper each dawn, iron grinding against bone, rust drinking from wounds. Your arms stretch wide, your body fixed against stone so high, the clouds themselves scrape past your face. The eagle comes. Its shadow strikes before its cry. Wings blot out the sun. The air thrashes with its arrival, gusts howling like horns of war. Its talons pierce your chest. Its beak plunges into flesh still raw from yesterday. You endure. Your jaw locks. Your throat swells with silent scream. The mountain listens, but you give it no sound. Only the tearing, the wet rhythm of devouring fills the air. By dusk, the eagle withdraws. Blood slicks its beak, liver dangling from its maw. It rises into the storm, content. Night falls. The wound knits itself back together. First a shimmer, then muscle, then skin. By midnight, your chest is whole. By dawn, the eagle returns. Again, and again, and again. Time shatters. Days lose shape. You do not count them. You cannot. To count would be to admit the infinity. Instead, you focus on fragments. The cold of the stone at dawn, the warmth of sun at noon, the first spark of stars at dusk. These are your hours now. And below, you watch. Mortals live by the fire you gave them. Smoke trails from their roofs. Songs curl from their lips.
Shadows dance on cave walls painted in red and black. They cook, they forge, they dream. Each flame is a dagger against Zeus. Each ember is your rebellion, flickering across valleys he cannot silence. You see them carve gods from wood. You hear them tell stories by the hearth. Stories of courage, of betrayal, of love that does not yield. Some whisper your name, some curse it, but all speak it. And in those whispers, you endure. Becomes ritual. Ritual becomes vow. The gods come sometimes to see if you have broken. Hera watches coldly. Ares smirks. Hermes tilts his head as if wondering how long foresight can hold. But none find you bent, none hear you plead. Only silence and fire below. Wind scours your face until it feels like stone. Chains rust into your veins. Blood hardens on rock until it gleams black. Your body ceases to be body. It becomes monument. And yet, your eyes never close. They fix always on the valley, on the tiny specks of fire, on the smoke that curls like prayers too stubborn to fade. This is the long watch. This is the eternity you chose. You cannot move. You cannot rest. But you can witness. And witnessing is enough. The eagle screams overhead. Your chest splits again. The pain roars. But through the roar, you whisper only one word, one oath. Endure. And so you do, until one dawn footsteps climbed the peak. Heracles with bow in hand, arrow loosed to strike the tormenting bird from the sky. The mountain has no mercy. It grinds against your back, carves its cold into your spine. The chain never loosens. The eagle never fails. Dawn after dawn, wings blot the sun. Beak rends your flesh. Night after night, your body heals, only to be torn again. Time unravels. Centuries pass like single breaths. Civilizations rise and fall beneath you. You see their fires multiply. Torches, hearths, forges, glows stretching across valleys like stars spilled onto earth. You know the cost is worth it. And still you whisper your vow. Endure. But one dawn, the wind changes. You hear not only the eagle's cry, but the rhythm of footsteps. Steady, deliberate, climbing the crags no mortal should climb. The eagle shrieks louder as though sensing threat. Its wings thrash, its talons tighten. And then, an arrow cuts the air. A shaft of polished wood, tipped with bronze bright as the sun. It whistles, then pierces feather and flesh. The eagle screams. Blood rains down, hot and steaming on snow. It flails, then falls, crashing against the slope, wings twitching once. Then still, you stare, not trusting your eyes. The footsteps approach. Out of the mist emerges a figure. Broad shoulders, lion's skin draped across his back, club strapped to his hand. Heracles, the son of Zeus, the mortal made half divine, the one whose labors shake the world. He looks at you not with awe, nor pity, but with recognition. He knows chains. He knows tasks set by cruel decree. He knows endurance. You whisper, your voice cracked. Why? He plants his club into the rock. to end what never should have been. Voice low, steady. My father decreed your torment, but he also decreed my labors, and freeing you was written in them. Even Zeus cannot break what fate inscribed. You study him, the son of your enemy, yet the hand of your release. The irony cuts deeper than chains ever did. Still, you bow your head. Then I owe my endurance to you. Heracles shakes his head. No, you owe it to none, not even to yourself. You endured because fire must endure. Now it burns in them. He points below. The valleys shimmer with firelight. Villages glow like constellations. Mortals laugh, sing, forge, dream. The sight steals your breath. It was for this, always for this. You rise though your legs tremble. The mountain no longer holds you. The wind no longer mocks you. For the first time, you take a step forward. Chains fall behind. Stone remembers your blood, but it does not bind you. The eagle's cry lingers in your bones, but it does not return. You are free. Yet freedom tastes strange. After so long, your body knows only captivity. Every motion feels borrowed, every breath suspiciously light. You wonder if you truly walk, or if this too is foresight, a vision yet to fracture. Heracles places a hand on your shoulder. His grip is steady, warm. This is no vision. Walk. The world waits. You nod slowly. The wind wraps around you, no longer biting but carrying. You step forward. The mountain shifts beneath your feet. The horizon widens. The fire below flickers brighter. The long watch has ended. A new one begins. Chains shattered. The eagle fell, and Prometheus stepped down scarred yet unbroken. His silence still lingers on the wind, echoes of defiance that burn as long as fire itself. The eagle's shadow drifts away. The chains lie broken on the rock. Prometheus breathes, shallow but free. And though his torment has ended, the silence he leaves behind still echoes across the mountains. A reminder that some punishments never truly vanish. They only fade into memory. And so, like him, we let go tonight. We step back from the cliff, back from the fire, back into the hush of our own rooms. If tonight's slow telling eased your mind, you're welcome to like or subscribe. Only if it helps you rest. And in the comments, share where you're listening from and the time where you are now. It's always comforting to imagine this small circle of listeners, scattered across the night, yet linked by story. Good night, and thank you for watching till now. We'll meet again.